Hi everyone, this is Lena from Fashion Talks. We had technical difficulties with our YouTube Live, so we had to move this meeting to Instagram. Well, I'm hoping that Marieke will join me here and we can start this wonderful meeting. Let me try to add her. Okay, send request. Hi, Marieke.
Good evening.
So good to see you. Fantastic to see you. Yeah.
Very much likewise. Sorry, I need to sort of change my gear a little bit because, of course, we weren't going to go on Instagram. So I maybe have a really weird bit of me that you see. So I'm going to show everyone. This is what I'm wearing.
Choose love.
Just so you know, it's my message for these difficult times in the world.
Amazing. I love. Yeah. Thank you again for joining us. And yeah, sorry about YouTube Live. We don't know what's
Sure.
going on. I heard some rumors that there's something with Google as well, and then
Right.
like there are issues with connection and with people trying to like connect video chat. So I think probably it's something to do with that. And yeah, we had to hear. It's really a pleasure to have you. And I wanted to just quickly introduce Fashion Talks. So basically, Fashion Talks in Switzerland. We my partner Joris, and basically we host events at brand shops that have very inspiring values. So local, sustainable, ethical brands, also supporting women, etc. And the goal is to basically meet with the founders, meet with the designers, so that people get to interact with the brands more. So this is one of our major activities, which obviously was paused because of COVID. But besides that, we also do like online events such as fun and also styling and branding and closet editing. So we both have like fashion industry and also luxury, party to Jane Weston and also that Bon Girl, men's wear meet. So yeah, so this is short about us, and let's move to, because this is about you and about what you do. So can you tell us shortly about yourself and about your journey? It's very interested to know more.
Thank you so much for having me. That's a real honor. My name is Marieke Eyskoot. I'm a sustainable fashion and lifestyle expert, some people say advocate, from the Netherlands. My aim is to give people opportunities to make changes themselves and take part in the movement to create a better world. And that's also, of course, includes a better fashion industry. So I've been working in sustainable fashion and lifestyle for over 20 years. I've been part of an organization called the Clean Clothes Campaign to improve working conditions in the global garment industry for about 10 years. And I've been lucky enough to also travel for that organization to production countries such as Bangladesh and Thailand and Turkey, many countries in Eastern Europe, to work with the workers themselves to change their conditions, because of course they know best what needs to happen to change. And while I was working for that organization, I got a lot of questions from people, because of course more and more now, because this was 15 to 20 years ago, but now more and more people of course know that there are problems in the fashion industry and in the world itself, and that the items that we wear and use are made through exploitation, both of people and the planet. And more people really, of course, want to know how they can contribute to change and what they can do to really play a part in changing the world. And it's not often that easy to find opportunities and also to find, the right information and to know what kind of choices you can make. So my aim is to answer everyone's questions. I'm let's say, a living answering machine. That's what I do for a living. So I give lectures, I do consultancy for sustainable brands, I host and present meetings for companies and organizations and NGOs who work towards improving our life, and I write books such as this one. This is a good guide for a sustainable lifestyle, which gives you tips and tricks and everything you need to be able to take steps. There you go. That's a real winner. When it comes to fair fashion, but also clean beauty, real food, eco travel, low impact home, those kinds of issues. So in short, that's what I do.
Fantastic. And this is such an important work. So I'm interested on your personal journey. So what inspired you to to write about these issues and write a book? This is a good guide. And what inspired you to go on this journey?
So that's really simple. The reason I wrote this book is to answer all the questions, because of course I can never talk to everyone in person. I can talk to a few of you now, I can talk to you live, which is lovely, but there are so many people sending me messages, asking me questions, writing me emails, and this book is there to try and answer every single question you could ever have, and not to tell you what's right and what's wrong, or to tell you what you should do, or how a perfect life is, what that looks like. Much more to give you choices, and to give you, different ways of responding, different kinds of information you might need to make your own choice within everything you can do. So that's what inspired me, really, to give, to sort of empower everyone, really, to become part of our movements to change the world.
Yes, and I think Netherlands is very open to this new wave of ideas. However, there are also people in the world who don't know yet the why, like why to choose the sustainable option. And my question is how to inspire basically people who don't necessarily know enough about sustainability and what's important.
I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly. Just to make sure, do you mean how can we
inspire people to look for the sustainable option? So what is someone's, so there are people who are more like, let's say, driven by their own benefits, like in large. How would you inspire someone like that to still choose the sustainable option? Yeah,
sure, but I think, we're all looking for our own benefit, right? I want to live a very conscious lifestyle and make real choices that are not just good for me, but for the people and the planet as well. And I think that's okay. It is okay. And I really want to show and prove that you can still live a very stylish, a very, let's say, a very, even, a very fun and a very positive lifestyle, and still make choices that are a lot less harmful for the world. So for me, the combination of leading a good life, making good choices, doing good and feeling good at the same time is really important, because it doesn't mean that your life should suffer, or that your life should become really meager, or that it's just a case of not being able to do anything anymore, or not being allowed to buy anything. Or it's not about that. It's about finding that balance between making choices that improve your life and improve the life of others and everything and everyone that's living in the world as well. I think that's much more interesting than only choosing what's right for you. But definitely these things go together really well, which is what I aim to show with the work that I do.
Absolutely. Thank you. So about sustainability, a lot of people have this idea, or some people have this idea that it's expensive. But you mentioned in your book that sustainable is not expensive, and there is no such a thing as cheap. And actually, we
Yeah.
with this. So can you explain this more in detail?
So that something's cheap doesn't mean it doesn't cost much, but that someone other than you is paying the price, right? So I really don't think sustainable items are necessarily very expensive. All the cost that regular products incorporate are not part of the price. So the fact, for instance, that mass production of fast fashion produces a lot of harm for the environment, and that we need to pay money to clean all that up. For instance, the pollution of water, the pollution of the soil, all of those costs are not part of the price. Also, of course, the labor costs and everything that it costs human beings to produce it for us, whilst they're being exploited in terms of, not earning enough to be able to live from, and also to work, very long hours. They essentially subsidize our low prices because none of that is part of the price that we pay in the store. So it's fake cheap, really. It doesn't exist, this kind of cheapness. And also, I think really that looking at the price per wear, if you talk about fashion, is much more interesting than the real price on the tag. Because if you buy something that's 10 euros, which you can only wear 3 times, and then you can almost see through it and you can't really wear it anymore because it looks terrible and you need to actually throw it out, that means it costs, 3 euros 33 every time you wore it. But if you buy something that's much more expensive, let's say 50 euros, and you can wear it 50 times, that actually only costs €1 per wear. So we have sort of grown into thinking about clothes and fashion and about the items we buy very short, in a very short time frame. We're not sort of, I think, used anymore to think long term. And that is a big problem, I think, because that means that we feel sort of entitled almost to very low prices, while that is really not realistic and also not in our own benefit. Because if we think something's very cheap and we buy it and then we can only use it for a very short amount of time, then we need to keep buying more and more things. And if you add all that up, we spend more. So we're not being very smart, which I think is terrible. I hate it that we're not using our brains right. We're being brainwashed, actually, to be stupid in our choices, which I think we should really stop and take back control of that.
Absolutely. I really liked the idea, one of those ideas. There were many, but this one specifically, where basically it was something like if you only buy something if you are going to wear it 30 times. It was in your
Yeah, so it's a campaign by, amongst others, Livia Firth.
Yeah.
She sort of really champions the fact that you should only buy something if you know you're going to wear it 30 times. And that doesn't sound often, whereas statistics actually show that it is quite often for people. That we hardly use clothing items more than 30 times, which is insane to me. It's really insane. So people often ask me, what is your top tip when buying fashion? I'm like, you should really only buy it when you love it.
Yes.
Absolutely love it. Only buy it when it's a massive yes and there's no doubts, and you can already picture yourself, wearing it, and you can think of lots of occasions or lots of other items you can combine it with. Only buy yeses and not maybes, or it's okay, but it's on sale, so I'll just get it, but it's not really my size, and also it's not the perfect color for me. Stop it. Really only buy it when you love it. Such as this t-shirt, which I love, which says choose love.
It is love.
And
it too. Your answer is kind of moving into the next question, which is about buying decisions. So could you add some more into how to make those buying decisions?
I keep missing some of the key words, so can I add something to what? Sorry.
Yes. So I was saying buying decisions. So people's buying decisions, how should they make them, basically?
So for me, quality over quantity is one of the biggest things to remember. I think that's sort of a golden rule almost that you can apply to, let's say, everything. it's probably better for us to, look at food that way, quality over quantity. That's probably more healthy, but also better for the planet, for the animals, for how we use our planet as a system of feeding us. It's also maybe better for, I don't know, lovers, friendships. But that's up to everyone, of course. But especially for fashion, that's also a really important rule to keep in mind, quality over quantity. It will, in general, really make you a lot happier. I always sort of compare it with, for instance, eating an entire bag of crisps all in once, and then afterwards you can feel a little bit bloated and maybe feel a bit guilty and not necessarily, feel great. You can just be a bit like, whoa. Whereas you've eaten a very special piece of pie that you really love, and you enjoy while you eat it, and you still enjoy it afterwards. I think that for me is a really good comparison when, you come home with 7 massive bags full of clothes that aren't, amazing, but you bought it, as I was saying, because they were on sale and it looks so good on the model, but you don't exactly look like the model, and, it's just not right for you. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. Yeah. Also buy it if it really fits you well, because it's not going to fit better later, although we do sometimes think it will. Also only really buy it when you feel like $1 million in it. And, the kind of items that you're going to wear, which can sometimes be other items that you love to buy. That's interesting. So I think that's really quite important. Those kind of items you will always grab from your closet when you want to look your best. Mm-hmm. And those are often the items that make you feel the best. Mm-hmm. It's much more about confidence, isn't it? And the way that clothes can make you feel. So go for those items that make you feel like you can, rule the world, and you will.
Yeah, I really like how you have summarized this, and I especially like the food example, because it's kind of similar, it is similar, it's compared to like well prepared food, things that you think of, things that you dream of. It's the same with the clothes. There are clothes go fast, and we shouldn't be wearing those. We should be focusing on those that we really, really love.
Yes.
Yeah. So our next question is about, still connected to shopping and buying decisions, but about big chains. What do you think about big chains? How can we tell if they have started to be more sustainable or just practice greenwashing? What are the ways?
So I've made a greenwash buster in this book. I've sort of created a whole list of questions that you can ask yourself or ask the shop, because this is an important issue, right? How do you know that you contribute to a store or a brand that is credible and that really sort of promises what they say they will? And I'm sort of flicking through it now because I thought it would be fun to sort of show you a few of the questions that are part of that sort of buster. And it's called Beware of Greenwashing. Mm-hmm. I sort of say here, sustainable fashion is big business. More and more people are looking for it, so an increasing number of companies are seeing an opportunity to make money, which means you can't take what everyone claims at face value. Of course, you are a critical consumer who pays attention and thinks, but just to be sure, a few questions here to help you recognize greenwashing. I think that's an important thing to ask yourself when you are looking into buying from big chains. So do they use vague words such as natural or fair or green or environmentally friendly, those kinds of things, or are they very specific in the kind of changes they are making? Is the brand itself claiming lots of things, or is there an independent verification, such as certification, that is being used? Does the brand window dress, meaning that it sells one good product or a line of good products to maybe distract from the rest? And is that line of good products maybe a very small percentage of the entire collection on offer? Is there something about their sustainability policy on the website And are these very specific, concrete actions or just woolly, sort of vague ideas? Does the brand consistently behave sustainably? Or so does it also address, for instance, packaging or transport or women's rights, you know, those kinds of things?
Mhm.
Can you ask them questions, and do they provide credible answers? I think that's also really important to sort of ask questions and do that quite visibly. So maybe on social media, so also others can see
Yes.
if they're answering and what their answer is. And also, if you know, it's really quite interesting, I think, to sort of go with your gut feeling. So, you know, what do you think? Does it feel credible? Does it feel right? And are they also really transparent and honest about what they do, but also about what they don't do? Because I think in this day and age, people are much more aware of, you know, the different issues and the different tactics. So if you're doing really good things, you can be proud of it, absolutely, and you can shout it from the rooftops. But then you should also explain what it is that you don't do yet
Yeah.
and why that is, and what your steps and plans are towards realizing those goals. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think there's also this that a lot of brands write about, um, what are their plans or what they're willing to achieve, but not the actionable steps. So not how and not what they have actually. Just as you said it, it's important to ask. Look,
Absolutely, because it means so much when the actual customers ask for it.
yeah,
It's very different when people from the outside tell a brand or a store that they should change. It's very different when they're actual customers who are, of course, you know, the people who pay them and who make sure that they, you know, earn profit. That's who they will listen to, because without us, the customers, they don't exist. They don't. And I think that is something that we sometimes forget. We are so massively powerful. Um, if we don't buy from them, then they have no reason to be there and they won't survive. So we are everything
yeah,
for brands and stores. That means that you have
yeah.
massive power, especially if we sort of use it together.
Absolutely.
People sometimes really feel that they are quite powerless, whereas, you know, we know that it's all about us.
Yeah,
There's no, there's no, you know, selling anything without people buying anything and without us raising our voice and asking for what it is that we want and what it is that we need. We made this world, so we can change it too, right? I mean, who else?
absolutely. And yeah, when people feel a little more powerless, we are all individuals. So there, yes, we are one, but when lots of one comes together, it's many. It's not one anymore. So that's
Absolutely.
uh,
And even as one, I mean, I'm sure all of us have experienced a mosquito in our room. That is the power of an individual. Absolutely. Or you can sort of envision, you know, a drop of ink transforming the color of an entire jug of water. We are massively powerful individuals. And I think many of us have maybe experienced a conversation with someone or seeing something online or on socials that has really changed our perspective on something. And that is the power you can have on someone who works in a store or someone, you know, in a position of decision making. That is the power that you have to change this world, and no one can take that away from us.
absolutely. Thank you. So, thoughts of luxury. So, traditional luxury has these notions of, savoir-faire, know-how, and also it has like these different values about quality, etc., which are aligned with sustainability. But are luxury sustainable, or what do you think about them?
I think the luxury brands are in danger of becoming quite obsolete if they're not careful,
Mm-hmm.
because they really need to sort of, you know, become part of our new way of thinking about seasons.
Yeah.
I would say that seasons in fashion are something that is quite old-fashioned and quite old school, because the whole idea that something would be out of style only because summer turns into fall is, of course, ridiculous and really not something that is very current or very contemporary. And this is, of course, a system that is very important for the luxury industry, because they have shows every season, and even in between seasons. And then there's also the cruise season and the pre-fall season and all these seasons. And we are done with those seasons. They are ridiculous. I can still wear something that I bought in summer 2002 now if I want to. There is absolutely no reason to declare clothes out of fashion only because time has gone past. So I really think that the future of fashion is much more timeless and really has not much to do with those kinds of seasons, both in the luxury industry and also in the high street industry. So I think that is something that fashion weeks and luxury houses really need to start getting on board with, because it's just not the future to really keep in this, very rigid systems of saying this is what we wear in spring, summer, and this is what we wear in winter of that particular year. So I think the future should really also be, about creating much more freeing, gender fluid, season fluid items, and they should, really get on board with that.
Yes. So continuing with this idea of luxury and sustainability, do you think what is better, to rent luxury items or to buy used luxury items?
I don't think there's a matter of what's better or what's worse. I think the thing that is best is what suits you, because then you will do it. So that's also why my book is called This is a Good Guide, not a guide for perfect people. I don't think there is a right or a wrong way. I think it's a combination of different strategies and tactics. And I think the best strategy for you is the one you will stick to and the one that suits you best. Because if we feel that we are forced into having to do something, or we need to start doing things that we don't like, then we won't embrace it, and it won't become part of the new normal, if you like. So if renting is really your thing, rent, because then you can change it up and try new things. And if you feel, no, that's not for me, I'd rather just, go for secondhand and just own the things that I like, then that's you. I do both. That's also fine. I think there are really many ways in which you can go about this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you think that both of the options are sustainable?
There are at least better choices.
Mm-hmm.
They're better choices than buying new unsustainable products.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So actually, we had a comment which was about the degrees of sustainability. So I think it was more about levels of sustainability which different brands could have. Is it something that we should consider? Because there are brands who were bad before, but they're a little more sustainable now. Are they really taking a good direction? So should we turn to them, or what should we think? How should we think about it?
It depends on who's saying this, right? So it depends on who actually tells you that they are better. If there's an independent certification who tells you that they are making credible steps, that seems like a good sign to me. If it's themselves, then we really want to see some proof as well, right? So absolutely, I applaud steps in the right direction as long as they're credible. And we've already talked about, the fact that you can spend your money and make grow what you want to see more of, and maybe sort of, cast aside what you feel doesn't need to grow. So I would definitely spend, if you're going to buy something, spend it on brands that, are being really credible and really visible. I also really always applaud brands that use that platform to make change in society. Because, of course, you can have a big audience as a brand and some really loyal people that really like you, and you can use your brand not just to sell products, but also to change the world. For instance, a brand like Billy, who is a hair eraser brand, So they sell products to remove body hair, but they campaign and use their platform to empower people to feel a lot more freedom about body hair, which of course is still a massive taboo in society, and which is one of the things that I feel is really being used to sell us products, because we're now not allowed to have body hair on our bodies, which of course is very natural, to sell us hair removal products. That is the reason. So what I really like about brands such as Billy, and there's more who do it, such as Nude and others, that they are not just there to sell us, you know, razors, but also to show us much more freedom in terms of allowing our body hair. So they say, really welcome armpit hair, mustaches, pubic hair, all kinds of hair, and leave it there if you like it. But if you feel that you want to remove something, then we're there for you. But we don't say that you should, because really, what's the reason? And those kinds of norms and taboos in society are, of course, one of the big problems when you think about sustainability, because not just do those norms keep telling us that we're not good enough, which is one of the biggest strategies that many brands use to make us buy things. They tell us that we don't look good enough, and that we don't wear the right clothes, and that we have too many wrinkles, and that our hair is too grey, and that, you know, we should wear lots more eye makeup because your eyes are too small in this light. And also, you know, I should have put more makeup on because you can sort of see the bags under my eyes. So I need to buy lots of products to change myself. That has two large and very important effects on ourselves. Collectively, we feel quite negative about our self-image and depressed about how we look, and we worry about, you know, if we're good enough and if we belong, and if we wouldn't be a lot happier if we were to have, you know, all these products and look different, and, you know, weren't grey hair, and, you know, all of those things. That's a massive effect of the strategy of shaming, which I think is terrible and enough in itself to rebel against, I would say. And then the second effect is that, of course, it keeps us buying, which is really not very sustainable. So it also hampers and is in the way of our capability of behaving very sustainably. So I think these are really things to look out for in brands and in stores if they use that strategy to make you feel bad about yourself. That, for me, is a really good reason to maybe step away from them. Yeah. We were actually, of course, going to go on YouTube Live earlier, so that's why I had charged my laptop, but not necessarily so much my phone, which is what I'm on now. Okay. So he keeps warning me that I've got a couple of percentages left. Okay. So I just wanted to warn you about that, that I should either do something about this, or we have a couple of more minutes, which maybe also is good to not sort of keep people too long. Yes, I'd say. I just wanted to say something about the thing that I just mentioned, because I started a movement to really change the way the industry works and to stop shaming for profit, which is called #sustainability against shame, just in case people wanted to contribute and be part of it to really, you know, stop this, because I think we need to recognize the way this works and resist it, to not just only save ourselves but the world too. So if you want to join me in stopping all the shaming and freeing ourselves, and also in that way making it much more easier for us to behave more sustainably, then join me at #sustainability against shame. How can we join you, Marieke? So if you follow that hashtag, yeah. I also have a highlight on my Instagram, and then you can see lots of things that you can do, because I identified 4 ways in which you can join me. You can share examples of these kinds of tactics, so we all learn and recognize it, so we can resist it with the hashtag. You can also share examples of good ways of selling us things, to not, you know, by not making us feel bad, but feel good about ourselves, which is a much nicer way of making me want something. So if you share that, then we also learn more. Also, of course, share pictures of yourself with everything that we're not supposed to be, because we, of course, need to really free ourselves. If we can't see it, then we can't be it. So we need to normalize looking our own natural selves with, you know, all our wrinkles, wearing the clothes we want, having the color we are, with our skin, with our hair, with our sweat, all of the things, because we're just deemed as not being normal, and all these taboos are keeping us from being happy in our own skin. So that's something you can do. And also I've made a pledge for companies and for media that they can sign if they want to also contribute to stopping shaming for profit. So you can urge your favorite medium, like a magazine or an influencer or a brand you like or a store that you like, to become part of this and pledge to change their ways and not use shaming to make us buy things, which is not good for us and not good for the planet and the people. So those are a couple of ways in which you can contribute. And I've made ready-made posts that you can share and tag them in, and tag me as well. Then I will, of course, share everything you do.
Well, I hope a lot of people will join hashtag Sustainability Against Shame, because it's a very good initiative. Just
Thank
to
you so much.
wrap it up, do you have like few sustainable tips for people, like let's say 3, just to do it every day?
I hope I will still make it with the battery I'm on. But of course, my top tip would definitely be yourself, because be yourself is already changing the world. There's nothing that you need to change about yourself that will make you a better person, or that will give you more confidence or more self-love or self-esteem. You are absolutely all right and perfect the way that you are. And the fact that we are being commercialized and sort of brainwashed into one job in life, which is to buy, really is in the way of us becoming more conscious and more sustainable in our choices. So if we learn to really sort of, recognize this very detrimental way of communicating and only telling us that there's one way that you can be, then we can really start making changes. And I just want to say hello to Ethically Kate, who's just sent us some hearts and is liking the message.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Kate, and thank you so much for joining us. And there were some other people who've been waving, Nola and some other people. I just want to acknowledge them and say hi to them, and thank you so much for your support. So that for me is one of the biggest ways that you can really contribute to a more conscious lifestyle and a better world. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I'd say. You are okay.
Thank you, Marieke. And thank you for everyone also who have joined us. So we have wrapped it up. Please support Marieke and her new campaign, hashtag Sustainability Against Shame. And also you can check out our Instagram, fashiontalks.ch. Thank you, everyone, and wishing you a lovely evening. Bye. Thank you, Marieke.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful holiday season and all the best for 2021. That it will be a fair and free year, I'd say, and healthy.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so thank you, everyone. After this live session, you can access this interview on our social media site, fashiontalks.ch. We are very, very, very grateful for Marieke. She's really an expert of sustainability and a wonderful lady. So she's an amazing person, and we have learned from her a lot. You can also read more about her activities and her work on Marieke Eyskoot .nl on our website, and also on our social media. Thank you very much, and have a lovely evening. Bye.